I was perusing my email inbox one morning when I came across something from Royal Kludge. And I'm not gonna say no to Royal Kludge. This one in particular is the RK-H81, Royal Kludge's first foray into the gasket mount keyboard market. It launched in October of 2022. It is a 75% with 81 keys, and it has a listing price of $89.99. We're gonna be taking a look at the keyboard here in a minute, but I figured we could also take a look at this box, see if it can give us a whole lot of information on this thing before we open it up. And the answer is no information on this box. RK-H81, Sky Cyan switch. We're gonna talk about these in a minute. Let's get this box open here. Get in line for the money shot. There you go. Manual right there. Whole lot of functionality. You are gonna need this itself. We'll put that to the side for just a sec. And we also have 4 spare. Sorry, the camera's not there. We have 4 spares Sky Cyan switches off to the side here. Keycap and switch puller. And not just a cable, but a multi-function USB-A, USB-C cable right there. Well, USB-C with a USB-A, end on it. This is good stuff. I like this. I like to see that. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. None of it's bad. Probably the biggest thing being this knob right here. Now, a lot of keyboards that you'll see, like some at a Keychron and GMMK, their knobs are used for volume. The knob on the H81 is used for switching between off the 2.4 gigahertz USB nub mode and 3 different Bluetooth devices. So you can, in fact, switch between 2 computers and your phone if you really wanted to, and it's seamless. All you do is just turn the dial. Yeah, visually, I honestly think this thing looks really, really good. Keycaps look fantastic. They don't look gamery, like they don't have that stupid weird font that some people use. It's just normal black on white, and then we have white on gray. I don't know, man. It looks really good, and it's not trying to be overly flashy. There's plenty amounts of RGB. As you can see here, we can switch the color modes around, switch the different kinds of colors. We have multiple modes. We're gonna leave it on that one right there, because I like that one. There are a lot of things that I want to bring up all at once with this keyboard, because I'm very happy that these things are here. The delete key, right fucking there, that's perfect. Having the delete key right here is fantastic. I think out of, that cluster of keys on the keyboard, I think the delete key is definitely the most important. Page up, page down, pause. Obviously, we have a function key with different layers. We have media controls up here. Hit F4, you can bring up the calculator. If you hit F3, you can bring up your email. If you hit F2, you can bring up your file explorer, and so on. You also have a WinLock function that you trigger by pressing function and WinLock, which will prevent the Win key from doing anything, so you can have a completely uninterrupted gaming experience. Look around to the back here. Oh crap, whoopsie. Accidentally did something I didn't mean to do. Didn't even know you could go full screen in Audacity. Okay. There are 2 stage feet. You have feet and then slightly longer feet right there, and that's a good thing. The USB nub is magnetic, and it sits right there in that slot. Well, it's magnetic, it's cool. All right, so it's actually high time that we crack this thing open. That's what I'm here for. I don't know about you. The P is blinking right now for a reason. I want to say it means pairing, but it's also in the 2.4 gigahertz mode, so keyboards, he's just kind of lost in the sauce right now. Magic of the iFixit toolkit. So basically, I'm kind of mad at this keyboard. They committed the cardinal sin. Your screws to take the thing apart are under the rubber feet. And you know exactly what I mean when I say that this is kind of a sin, because the glue doesn't always go back on the same when, you take them off once and put them back on. They're not gonna be the same, and they like to fall off. For the love of God, please don't put your screws behind rubber feet or anything like that. Before I get cracking into this thing, we gotta talk about the switches and the caps first. These right here are RK's Sky Cyan switches with a 55 gram actuation force and a 60 gram bottom out force. I like these. They're not too scratchy out of the box, especially for a manufacturer's own switch. Thought about lubing them, but I don't have a Kali style switch opener. I only have an MX one, so, you know. As for our keycaps right here, these are double shot ABS. Double shot ABS caps can be kind of hit or miss, and they can be somewhat flimsy, but no, these ones actually are really nice, and they look great. All right, onto the board. So if you have any sort of flat tool, I highly recommend grabbing it because you will kind of need one. I personally use this tool right here, like a butter knife, you know, would be perfect, but, you know, I use this. So once those screws are out of those, you know, 4 corners right there, what you do now is you take your little flat, like, tool, go around the front and the sides and the back, and you'll see these little indents right here, and you just take your little slim tool right there and then kind of insert it and work your way in there until it pops up. You can also go in through the front right here. That will also give you the same desired effect. So you just want to pop the top case off of this thing. You don't have to take off the knob, and I'll show you why in a second. Be careful about the charging ports. Well, be careful about the charging port and the pass-through, because that will potentially cause a problem if you start sticking your tools in there. And there we go, we are free. Once you have the top case separated, I like to fold this up here and pull this black connector. That's where the knob is right there, so just pull the black connector out, and there you go, and your top case is free. Flip this part up here. We have 2 things we got to disconnect. This runs to the microcontroller with the ports, so we just pull this and we pull our battery. Just be very careful and don't fuck around. So there's our sandwich. We're gonna take a look at the bottom case first. So right here under this rubber pad you have your battery. I'm not too sure, honestly. That's a wash. And if we're gonna put anything in here, it certainly isn't gonna be in that portion, because goodness me, there's nothing that I can stick there. I could probably pour something in there, but just this like silicone rubber pad on top. PCB then just sits directly on top of that. So we're not going to mess with that right now. We are gonna mess with this. I want to say it's a pour-on gasket mount, I think. Basically, instead of having, you know, your PCB and plate sandwich be screwed into the case like a typical tray-mounted keyboard would, it's actually kind of a free-floating unit, and it sits on these literally gaskets, and then the top case goes over it. So the reason why you would potentially want a gasket mounted case is because of shock and stability. Like, you know, when you're typing, that can create vibrations, and those vibrations can get in the way of, you know, how it sounds. So what gasket mount cases aim to do is sort of eliminate some of that vibration, give it some shock absorption. I don't recommend tray mounting over gasket mounting, just like I don't recommend gasket mounting over tray mounting. It's kind of just up to personal taste. I haven't owned too many gasket mount keyboards, but if the current trend that I'm seeing is that there isn't any space in the case is to be correct, then I might not be a huge fan. However, the story doesn't end there, because there is still one thing we can do, at least judging just by, you know, looking at this. So this polycarbonate plate is screwed in here with 4 screws, right there, right here, and one in this corner and one in that corner. So if you just pull those screws out just like this. You're free. So we have another layer of the rubber silicone stuff here. It's the same material as that material there in the bottom of the case. We have these two buffering foam pads right here. These go right next to the spacebar stabilizers and just kind of hang out right there. Okay, so these are lubed out of the factory. Yeah, that's quite a bit, especially right there. That's like way too much. Honestly though, it's not terrible because, let's think about this, because the keyboard pre-mod sounds pretty damn good. I don't want to get rid of all the lube, but that looks like half the world's supply of lube right there on these two. I initially wasn't going to, and then I decided to do it because somebody was probably going to yell at me if I didn't. Look at me, I'm so broke, I'm siphoning lube from different keyboards. Oh my god. This is how much I've siphoned already. There's a growing market for siphoned lube. It's like siphoning gasoline, you know? Past this point, I can really only think of one thing to do, because I don't have the materials on hand for, you know, Band-Aid or Holy mods. People ask me sometimes, they say, why don't you have the money to buy a pack of Band-Aids? And my response always is, the streets is cold, dog. Really, the only thing that I can think of doing is a tape-off on this, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I don't really think I can do a whole lot else. There isn't a lot of room in this case for me to do really anything, and if I was going to do any, you know, headliner mods on this, it would be a silicone pour, but I don't need to do that, because there's a pre-cut sheet of it right fucking there. I'm gonna be honest, guys, I think RK kinda beat us out on this one. Someone can definitely find some crazy mod to do, but unfortunately for me, what we are going to do instead is we're gonna do a tape-off. And if you're unsure of what a tape-off is, well, I'm about to do something that looks incredibly illegal. You can use masking tape, like painter's tape, and packing tape like that. Don't use duct tape because the adhesive really will mess your day up on the back of your PCB, let me tell you. Your PCB is not a huge fan of that adhesive. Alright, we have our freshly taped PCB, and we're just gonna reassemble the sandwich. Honestly, I think Royal Kludge kind of hit it out of the park with this one. Only really one major glaring thing, and it revolves around the layout, and that shift key right there in particular, RK following in the trend of, you know, 1 1/4 unit shifts, and that's not cool. But other than that, man, this whole keyboard is... I originally thought that $85.99 was going to be a bit much for this thing, and granted, I still think it is, but at the same time, you know, you're not just buying a good project board, you're buying a keyboard that's effectively finished. Like, this is your end-all, be-all keyboard. You don't need to open this up and edit it unless you really want to. You know, you can take the switches and caps off, that's about it if that's all you need, and you just want something that is gonna sound fucking great with whatever you stick in there. H81, man. As for me, I'll be around. I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, remember to like and subscribe. I appreciate your face. I will catch you guys next time, and take care.